The last 12 months have been the hardest working 12 months of my life, but at the same time I am absolutely convinced that it is what I want to do for the rest of my working career. I think it is brilliant, and you might have a bad day, you might have a bad lesson, you might even have a bad week, but one moment of magic in a lesson just throws that all away. It's absolutely fantastic.
The first year of teaching is full of trials and tribulations. To celebrate its completion, 4 friends, all newly qualified teachers, come together to have a meal. They compare their experiences over the last 12 months and what they do differently. Host for the night is Amy Hughes, who teaches drama. Her friend and work colleague Katie Elstob is an English teacher. Alan Davis also works with the girls and teaches science. His friend Mark Dewhurst teaches physics and maths.
I must be the only teacher that goes home on a Friday night and all I want to do is sleep.
I can't, I physically cannot go out on a Friday night.
No, I can't.
And then Saturday, I try and kind of get a bit of work done. Is that really bad?
What?
No, but
Is that on Sunday evening?
I feel like I can't catch up. But seeing friends as well, it's been very hard this year to see anyone who isn't a teacher. Because they don't understand that you need to go home at 10 o'clock.
I wish last year I'd planned a little bit more in the summer, because I just think I got so slack and I was just enjoying having like 10 weeks off, finishing your PGCE early. It was lovely. But this year I definitely want to plan a little bit more in the summer. Right, there's us talking away. Ray, you need to go and get cooking.
Right, okay.
Right.
Yeah, so planning this year, how much easier is it now?
Yeah, it is. It's much nicer, and I think it'd be nicer going into next year having this year's lesson plans that you can just take with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're doing joint planning in the department, which is absolutely brilliant. And it just means that you come back from a lesson and you've got someone to say, oh, that really, really didn't work. Why did it not work? And then, you know, if they say, yeah, no, it didn't work for me either, then you feel there's a little bit of comfort there.
Yeah. Right, should we get the boys in to lay the table? They don't look like they're doing much out there. You've got to be so careful with your planning and use your time wisely, I think. And that's one thing I don't think at the beginning of the year, that came as a real shock, but I think that was a knock-on effect from a PGC being quite laid back to going into a department that's quite quick fire and, you know, you've got to be really on top of things. So that was the biggest shock to me, definitely.
I remember first getting my drawer in the staff room.
Oh, we just have a big mug space with all our mugs, but everyone has to have their own mug. It's scary. If you take someone's mug, there's loads of politics behind it. I had to take 2 in because I kept losing mine. But
I've got 3 bowls. I've got 3 bowls.
We've had
3 spoons.
We've had emails going around just because people keep like walking off with mugs.
I wouldn't touch anyone else's stuff. Sad, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well sad.
Actually, I've had bottom set.
Beginning, middle of October, I'd had a nightmare with my Year 9 class. The night before, I'd had this really good idea. I was going to replan the lesson, replan the classroom, move them all round, got them all sorted, new seating plan, really interactive ideas. Lost my memory stick. Literally had nothing to teach them, no backup resources, nothing. And like from then on, it's just been have your paper copy ready.
Although once I did it, I practiced this steam engine thing because I knew this would be a really good sort of energy transfers thing. I practiced it, knew it'd work, got it going. Steam engine worked for about 2 or 3 things. I bigged it up massively, got them all around, all really close. They're all dead excited about it. Challenge, it's a real big challenge. Got it going 2 or 3 times and the wheel just span off.
You just got to go, like, kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, and it's just accepting that, yes, you are going to have 5 or 10 minutes where you can't do anything with them whilst the technician comes. But that's okay, you know, it doesn't matter if you lose 5 minutes of your lesson. It's not a problem.
Do you know your difficult kids in all?
I remember this bottom set, year 11, sort of coming up to the end of term. I always have the last session on Friday, and there must have just this thing kicking off or whatever, and it was something called It's On, or whatever. And I remember just trying to teach a little bit, hearing this It's On, and then they smashed through the door. I looked to my right, 3 kids running in, like 3 quite big lads run in, pick up this small lad and run off with him, just straight out the door. Just thought, Yeah, that's Friday afternoon. Just carried on teaching. He came back in a bit later anyway, so it was all sorted. But
yeah, but also calling on senior members of staff because someone needed, you know, you're an NQT, someone needs to be in there, someone needs to be dealing with that and saying, you know, pulling them out, getting the kids out, get the head teacher in.
Yeah, well,
And don't be afraid to do that as well. Like I was like, oh God, if someone comes in and deals with behaviour, then it means I'm a failure. And you really haven't. I'm going to clear these up then and get the mains sorted.
Right, cheers, that was grand. Getting the staff on board is like I think it's one of the best things you can do as an NQT. Just getting involved, meeting people, being really friendly. I got involved with the school like staff football on a weekend, which isn't much really, just like Friday after school, but it does help you build good relationships with the other staff. They can give you tips and advice and help you out when you need it, and you can return the favour as well, which is, I think, it's a really positive thing.
How do you feel your time management's kind of come on?
Better in that I am managing to sleep before 12 o'clock. How about you? How's your time
No, I'm the
management?
same. I prefer to get in early in the morning now, and just because it's quiet, and I feel like my head's fresher in the morning to sort of, if there's anything that needs doing, any odd bits of marking, I'd rather do it then, because at the end of the day I tend to get really sluggish and I just want to go home. What about in class? Because like, do you run over ever for lessons? And
I always run over. I see the bell as the start of my plenary, really. So how have you found being new boy in the department?
I don't know, I fit in quite well pretty quickly. I mean, they keep the distance for a while, but then like they just take you in, don't they, under their own arm and stuff. And like, you're the team man first, but then.
Yeah, I've been quite lucky. There's another NQT in science as well, so that's been quite good. We've been working together.
We've got that.
And it's not just like me and my own. So that's been really useful actually.
That's what's been really nice about having a mentor, isn't it, as well? That it's not as intense as your ICT mentor, which is quite good, I think.
We have quite a few NTAs, like non-teaching assistants in sort of the department and so on. And like, there's some that you just get on better than others, obviously. And like, the ones that you work well with, they'll do a lot for you as well.
Definitely.
Sort of support
it's nice
you all the
when
way.
they enjoy your subject as well, like when they come in and sort of want to take part in something. It's really nice.
I love it when they say, oh, I like that lesson. Please in the NTAs, it's weird, but yeah.
I find it absolutely brilliant because they see the kids more all the time and they see them in different situations, don't they? So they can kind of say, oh, well, he's not very good in the morning, or that was a really good lesson. You're managing them really well. Like I wouldn't be without the TAs in my bottom set. They are absolutely fantastic.
Do you have any observations then?
Yeah, you get sort of one a term, I think, off my mentor, and then one sort of external one about people from English and so on coming across. It's one of those things that really keeps me on my toes. This year I could have gone slack, but I just think when that observation comes round, if I'm like this, Yeah,
I see it as a really, really positive thing because on your PGCE there was always someone there. Even if you thought you'd had the worst lesson, there was always someone to say, well, yeah, okay, maybe this and this went wrong, but this and this and this went right, and they were really good, and the kids were really engaged, or whatever it is. And I found, like, in the first few months of NQT that I felt a little bit lost, and well, was that an awful lesson? Am I on the right track? Am I teaching them what I'm meant to be teaching them? And the observations, I think, just helped with that and made a bit of comfort.
Kind of going,
reaffirms and it reassures you that you can do it. Let's get put in. I hated my PGCE, absolutely hated it, and it's just because of the observation, the pressure of someone else judging, watching, and commenting on your performance every single lesson every day. But this year, a lot more freedom to do what I wanted to do, and of course, you don't have that person looking over your shoulder, seeing, if not commenting on every single mistake. And so this year, a lot more work, but a lot less pressure. Parenting on Thursday?
Yeah, year 7.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Serious?
I'm just going to get stuck into them.
I was really scared about my first one though. Year 8, top set as well.
Same here.
Lots of very eager parents. But yeah, it was fine, and they do value your opinion, and you know, they don't see you as a newly qualified teacher and what could you possibly say about my child. They see you as their child's teacher.
The amount I learn about a child, like when you see the parents, and the amount you learn just by chatting about, when you ask them a question, what do you want to do? Because the only time you get a real one-to-one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, unless you've really forced a one-to-one through the year, you get every single pupil that you teach.
Yeah, you see them in a completely different light, don't you? Because they're just there on their own without their mates to bounce off or anything.
Yeah, I love that. Like, parents even are so positive for me.
A lot of time and effort in terms of like planning and things. It takes a lot out of the evening. You've been in school all day. That's one negative thing.
Yeah, it's sticking to the time limits as well. If you've only got 5-minute time slots,
that was really
and the
hard,
parent wants to keep talking, you're like,
How do you make a parent leave? I've literally stood up and sort of speaking to them. Stood up, speaking to them. And it's been really good. And they still want to carry on, but you know you have to keep moving, otherwise, there's 10 people that are going to be disadvantaged.
Anything that you know now that you wish you'd known back at the start?
I think some of the things that didn't work, some of the things that I thought would work, I think that would have been sort of my biggest error. The fact that you've got to go in the same with every group and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
That you've got to go in pretty tough and then see how it goes. And you'll relax yourself and the kids will relax. That's when you get the best out of them, I think. Yeah, what sort of things would you advise? What's the most important that you think that you've learned?
Just being organised, I think, is one of the key things.
Organised.
Just keeping up with everything. There's a lot of stuff on at the start of the year. All the names you've got to remember, all the work and the marking. I almost got swamped.
I think there are times when you do question why you're doing everything, around about Christmas when you're trying to sort out end of term assessments, when you're trying to catch up with all your marking, but then at the same time you're trying to organise Christmas presents for family and organise when you're going to go and see your family, when you're going home. You do think, why am I putting myself through this? But then you get back in January and you realise you're on the downward slope and it's absolutely fine. Okay, Amy, top tip then for next year. If NQT coming in your position, working in your school, what would be your top tip for them?
Plan over summer. I think it's really important just to set yourself up for what you're going into for that autumn term. Just remember, it's not the end of the world if lessons go wrong. It's not the end of the world if children misbehave in your lessons. And just really be open and honest if you're struggling at anything. Just really, people are there to ask for help. Do it. Don't feel like you're on your own. And try and stay sane, and you will. Stay positive. You can do it.
End of November, I thought this year was never going to end, and that if it did, it would end with me being fully grey and shaking, gibbering wreck. But it's come out all right, and I think, I am massively looking forward to next year and feeling comfortable in what I'm doing. So
You learn to relax, don't you?
Yeah.
You learn to relax and just sort of take everything as it comes, like every good teacher does.